Transmitter on, platform on, picking up GPS, settling the gyros, accelerometers, connect the telemetry, get ready to fly. Telemetry running. I'm going to have to stay a little closer to that because I will not get back to click return to launch when I do like I'm going to do now. Check, make sure GoPro's running. Yep, lights flashing. Let's go fly. Auto mode. I see it does go up to about 30 feet. Pulled it out. Again, I had not changed the perimeter, so it did go up the same from auto to stabilized at 50% throttle. I will go and lower that. I hope I remember to. That looks like a auto landing. This is where I got away from the telemetry. Boy, it could start flying off. I could trip on the gate, fence, rail. Not good. I'll switch back over to the droid planner soon, and it'll be right on top of my radio, and I won't be away from it. There's where I rearmed. Bet this was a RTL test. Stepped on a board there, scared me. Zoom. haven't auto-tuned it in the new configuration either. Haven't done the compass motor compensation, and I haven't done the, oh, look at her, yo, and I haven't done the vibration test to make sure I'm under 30%. Not much changes to the platform from before. Now this was a high altitude RTL. Just checking switch positions. Frequently when I see that it's going to actually do the RTL, I'll flip out of it and go do something else. About time for some speed tests, or I did some drift mode tests. I know that in drift mode, yeah, that's a forward speed. And then that'll be a reverse speed coming back in stabilized mode. Pretty sweet. When I did the drift mode test, I got over in the trees to the left and had to flip RTL. I wasn't sure if it was behind a tree. That was a scary moment. And that was an altitude hold, forward speed, and it will come back also. It still cooks in altitude hold mode. That was a stabilized, lower towards the ground. I'm doing more and more in stabilized mode in case I get into trouble, which I'm prone to do. I got a little bit of wild hair, and I think this is where we played with drift mode. Yep. Make a turn and drift. And see, the turn got a little bit wide on me. So I hit RTL. I wasn't above the trees over there I see now, but I didn't like it. Abort the RTL. I have to change my orientation because the drift mode got me oriented in a different orientation. So now I played with some right and left. Just to see how the PIDs were. They're really pretty sweet still. Motors, props, none of that changed. There's another zoom for the sky. So there is actually 3 of them on it. Can't see what I flipped there. Barely see it up there on the edge of that sun flare. See how she moves to the left. See how she moves to the... Oops. How about the first one was starboard, the second one was port. Or the first. Looks like I'm actually over my 10-minute mark here technically. I think some of that has to do with the time on the ground perhaps. I am paying close attention to the alarm on the transmitter. But 12 minutes still gives me a approximately still a 3-minute margin of error, because horsing it around and sending it flying max speed up, there was no voltage sag and no current. Current went up, but it's just working. It's not like sucking a bunch of the milliamp hours out at that second. I'd say this is the final landing, perhaps. Throttle all the way down so she don't bounce around when she hits the ground. Still bounces just a little bit, but okay. And I did reach down and pull the main battery, and I did pull the receiver battery. So the rest of this is just carrying it to the car after I checked the heat of the batteries, all the motors, the ESCs. Just a really, really wonderfully fun time. And have one battery, so that's the end of it. Okay, we did a stress test today on the hexacopter. Let's see what this one turned out. And I only ran it 10 minutes again. I did a couple of zoom at the full power straight up. Those seem to have produced a sag in voltage right here, down to 12 volts. Well, that's instantaneous. This may be another. This may be another. These, obviously, where the voltage goes up, are where I'm descending, some other descending. This is probably an aberrant transient, perhaps. Still running about 14 volts at the end. Oh, that's right, I actually did do, I brought it home and landed it, and there was probably 2 minutes before I actually unplugged the battery. Now, let's see the big one. How did current go? Yahoo! Current's 20 amps. Drops when I go down, down. Stays about 20 amps. Let's assume these are the zoom in for the sky, maybe this one or this one, perhaps this one. Let's overlay the voltage and see. Yeah, this and this would be where the voltage went down while the current zoomed up. This is probably a little zoom. Oh, that's right. I got over in the trees and had to get out. And maybe this isn't a transient. Might be another time where I went up. And that's about right. Let's see, what else would we like to look at here? Let's look at the IMU. We'll look at gyros. Boy, for everything I was doing, it did pretty good on that. Gyro X. Got some in here where I did those zoom ups. Z. Oh, really, really great. Really, really wonderful. Look at the accelerometers again. These were the zooms up and followed by lowering. Perfectly in line. That one's fairly consistent. I did turn it here. And this one, all really, really good. Let's see if I can remember real quick where the altitude was. Is it here? No. Altitude, I don't think this is the right one. Yeah, I guess it is. Altitude changes. That's not the right one. Here we go. Altitude changes from 0 up to, at one point, about close to 100 feet. That looks about right for what I did. Barometric altitude changes. Looks like they're following awfully close. Let's overlay them. They are really darn close. So as it's being worked, it is actually learning its position, learning its altitude, and tuning itself better and better, just like the software and the Pixhawk is supposed to. Also, the APM does this. Really, really outstanding. We'll look again here at the takeoff. Battery plugged in. I let it set and pick up satellites. Kind of let the IMU gyros accelerometer settle. It's picked up 12 at this point while I walk back to the telemetry, start it up, and then once the telemetry is recording and I know that I can, like I say the other day when the receiver burned out mid-flight, I can click on return to launch on the telemetry. I'm ready to arm the vehicle and go. Now when I arm it, this altitude in the bottom left will zero out, and it will also set home when it's armed. So, come on, there wasn't that much time. There we go, armed, altitude zeroed out, not perfectly as you see. Into auto mode. I wanted to get it up, and then I wanted to retest the stabilized mode, how much it jumped up, and I forgot to change the value. So it did the same thing. Went back into stabilized mode, did some zooming around, we won't get into a lot of this. We'll just go ahead and forward this up at speed. I'll do that inside the other software. I'll let this run for 10 minutes so I get a clean copy. Looks like I need to recalibrate the accelerometers for level. Although the software could be off a little bit, I'd like to see if I can clean that up a little bit. Other than that, it really looks good. Up to 13 on the satellite locked. Jeez. Lock. I think you'll see in the video I did land it and had to rearm it one time. I know I was basically facing south most of the time, so that looks really, really good on the compass. I'll change this one to vertical acceleration if I can find it. I think this is vertical speed. Yeah, there we go. Might go back and try to find those upward zooms at full throttle to see how. Oh, miles per hour vertical was 54 miles an hour. Yikes. Altitude shows up here, so I'm going to change this one to airspeed. Not sure if this is ground speed or airspeed over here. Looks like it's the same. So I might change this one to ground speed to see what's what. There we go. Seeing it doesn't have a airspeed indicator on it. They're still pretty much matching ground speed and airspeed. That figures. If it had an airspeed indicator on it, it would subtract the wind speed and give airspeed differently from ground speed. Show that more on the aircraft. Oh, there was a zoom up. I forgot to see. Coming down, vertical speed of 22 miles an hour down. Here's another one. No. Guess I'm playing around there. On in, I did lay it over. There we go. Ground speed only hit 30. I was chicken. That's reverse. At about 33, again, I was chicken. And that's when it's laid over. Doing that, you can get extra speed by going ahead and upping the throttle because it's at an angle. It's not going to go up as fast as it increases its forward motion. So it looks like the airspeed with the 12-inch props is about the same. Also, that heads-up display's getting more level. Might just leave it alone. Close enough for government work. We need accuracy here, not precision. This is all in stabilized. Altitude hold. And with altitude hold, get a speed of about 24. That's expected. And back 25-ish. Yeah, about 10 miles per hour difference when you're not in stabilized mode. I did go into drift at one point, but I missed that on the indicator right here of mode. I have not calibrated the voltage or the current on this new battery on either platform. Yo! This must have been drift mode time. Yep, it says drift right here. I was playing with that, returned to launch, played with that. I played with all 6 modes of operation today and horsed it around so I could see what the current and battery did, voltage did with the new 65 to 130 burst. 65 constant, never got anywhere near it, looks like. So I don't have any voltage sag like I did in the old batteries. These batteries will last much longer. I love it as a 10-minute machine. Sat's up to 13 again. "30 seconds till 10-minute alarm on the timer on the receiver." And this should go to RTL at that moment. Or I might have had it hovering locally and did a land. I'm not sure. 10, 9. Alarm. Looks like I landed it in stabilized mode. Oh well, I can do that too. And she should be Down. Now this is probably where I'm carrying it to the car. That's how I got the extra 2 minutes of time, because I did unplug the main battery. You may see that in the video. But I did not unplug the receiver battery from the Pixhawk because I haven't got a BEC for it yet. So there's 1 minute of extra time that we saw on the graph. Used up 80% of the battery, 20% left. That's pretty sweet stuff. Oh, I guess I was still flying. I went over by 2 minutes. Yikes! There's the RTL. Didn't really want to do that, but the battery voltage is down to 1410. I think I'll set the RTL to 14. Need to stop this bad boy at 10 minutes. Battery calculation down to 14% because I haven't calibrated the voltage or current sensor. That could be off. 4300-ish of 5000 milliamp. Disarmed. I guess that's what happened. I went over a 12-minute flight instead of a 10. Oh well, nobody's perfect. There you go. Pretty killer.